If you're over 40, you need a stronger butt. Today, we're gonna tell you why, and we're gonna go over 3 exercises that can help you strengthen that area. So the reasons why you need a stronger butt is because your hips are one of the stabilizers of the rest of the body. Now, if your hips are not strong or your glutes are not strong, your lower back might be moving for your hips, which can create back pain, lower back pain. You'll start to notice some extra movement in the lumbar spine. Again, we can't really tell that unless we're really doing some imaging and we're doing some measurements on that. But again, the way we look at the body is we look at it from a standpoint where everything works together in an integration, right? And so if the hips do not have proper strength, it can affect the chain all the way up to the all the way up the body, and even can affect the shoulder.
Yes.
If we really think about it, yep. Right? So if you notice you have a hip shift, look at immediately what will happen to my shoulder. In order for me to balance myself out, you're going to start to compensate in other areas. Mm-hmm. So we do need some hip stability. We need some strength in that area. We want to decrease as much back pain as possible, and in general, it will help the whole chain of the body.
Have stronger butts.
Exactly. So the 3 exercises that we're gonna go over today, we're gonna go over a step up, we're gonna go over a hip thrust, and we're gonna go over an RDL. And we're gonna change up that RDL for you guys just a little bit so you guys can see how we can effectively manage that strength in the glutes.
Let's do it.
All right, so the first exercise that we're gonna go through is a step up. Now, a lot of people know step ups. They use it in their classes, they do it in their exercise routines, but today, I want to talk a little bit more about the range of motion. Now, we have a step here. Notice where John is standing. His knee is a little bit above his hip right here. At this point, we're already stretching out the glute. We want full range of motion. We want full stretch of the glute, and we want full activation. So we're going to try to get the full contraction, and we're going to try to get the full stretch. And so the higher we go and the more you can manage that step up, we're going to try to use as much as we can from this leg. Now, a lot of people just jump up, push up. Yeah, no, push off. They use the opposite leg to really push themselves up. This is not what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to really focus more on the leg that's on that riser or on that step or on this plow box. So you're gonna go ahead and grab the weight, John. We're gonna effectively utilize a step up here to get a full contraction of that glute. Now go ahead and step on up as much as you can. Now notice what John had to do there. He leaned forward as if he was putting all of his weight on that knee. Go ahead and drive down slowly. And we're gonna try to do about a 3-second to 4-second count as we go down. Put pressure into the heel, push off that heel as he comes up, squeezing those glutes, standing up as straight as you can, putting all that pressure there, and then driving it back down. Now the goal here is we want to create strength. Now if this is your first time, you want to go for higher repetitions, maybe about 15 repetitions or so, to create as much activation and recruitment from those muscles in the glutes. All right?
Yep.
So do those about 3 sets, give it about a 30-second to a minute break in between sets. Do about 15 repetitions if you first started out. If you're more a pro at this, go ahead and add weight to it and do less repetitions, but really focus on activation of those glute areas. All right, so the next exercise that we're gonna do is a hip thrust. Now, a lot of the times we see these at the gyms, you see them on the park benches. We wanna activate those glutes as much as possible, or that posterior chain, and a hip thrust can take care of a lot of those areas. So John's gonna be sitting down on the ground. He's gonna prop himself up with his shoulders. Go ahead and hinge up, John. Now, notice immediately what he did. He drove his head back. What I want him to do is I want him to tuck his chin up, lift, so we can get a little bit more activation of those hips here. Perfect. Keep his elbows out to the side, supporting his body. And first, if you guys are brand new to this, just do an isometric activation here, which is he's just gonna hold his hips up. If that's way too easy for you, we're gonna go through that full range of motion. We're gonna drop it down, feel the stretch, maybe even activate or tap the floor here and lift right back up. Now, again, if you're a pro at this, you can add some weight along those hips as he does a hip thrust here. Again, if you don't have any weights now, and you want to make it harder for yourself because your body's always going to adapt to something that you, a stimulus that you put into it. We want to make it a little bit harder. Go ahead and drive that foot up. And we want to talk about load management, right? We can make it easier or we can make it harder. We always want to make it tougher for our body as long as we get that full range of motion, because look at his hip here. He's getting the full extension. He's getting the squeeze from his glutes, and he's activating that posterior chain to help with our posture. And so again, as he's doing this, if this is your first time doing it, you want as much recruitment as possible from these areas, from these muscles. And so you're probably going to want to do about 15 repetitions, 3 sets, take a break for about 30 seconds or so, and do it again. You really want to get that burn from that posterior chain. Cool. So the last exercise that we're going to do here is an RDL, a single leg RDL. But notice, I'm going to have you guys put your hand on something to help support you, all right? Because the goal here is we want some activation and strength from the glutes. So we're going to try to target that local area. Even though it is a compound exercise or a full body exercise here, we want to try to put as much pressure and activation from that glute as possible. So he's going to hold on. His hand, as he's driving his hand down, he's reaching his hand to the outside part of his foot here. And so that way we're getting a little bit more of a stretch into that glute on this opposite side over here. And as he's lifting up, go ahead and lift up, he's going to rotate. There you go. He's just going to rotate there, and he's going to squeeze to get that full contraction of that glute. And then he's going to reach right back down. And so we're going to do this. There you go. Perfect. And lightly on the hand, put a little bit more pressure into the glute, but he's activating. Now, a lot of people ask me, do I need to keep my knee straight? Don't worry about your knee being straight. You can unlock it. I just don't want you to bend it all the way down as you squat into it. Drive it down, tap, and come right back up. Squeeze the glute as you stand up. So John over here, notice he's rotating out. He's putting as much stretch as he can into that glute right here. And as he comes up, he's trying to get a full squeeze. Stand up, squeeze into that glute as he stands up. Now it's kind of a rotation here, and it's a variation of a hip airplane. But now we're adding some of that strength and load from the weight. Perfect. So a big butt is something that you want to develop. You want to build on your big butt. You want to build on that strength of the glute as much as possible, because again, it's going to help the chain. It's going to help everything from the lower back, the knees, everything.
So if you guys want more exercises for that booty and increasing that size and that strength, check out these videos.